Namaste, Guruji.
Namaskaram,
Namaste.
Guruji.
Namaste everyone.
Namaskaram.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Bhatvamanusandhadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sankapadakramopaniषदैः Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So, Namaste everyone.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. So,
Namaste, Guruji. Pranam.
Pranam, Namaste. So, we completed the 8th chapter in the last class. And today I will give you a summary of the 8th chapter of the Gita. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the chapter, this happens to be in the middle section of Gita. Middle section is the portion which means 7th chapter to the 12th chapter. So the middle 6 chapters are called the middle section or Madhyama Shatkam. And in this Madhyama Shatkam, one of the sadhanas highlighted is Upasana. So this topic begins from 7th chapter and runs through all the 6 chapters up to the 12th. And Upasana is one of the most important spiritual sadhanas, exactly like the Karma Yoga sadhana of the Prathama Shatkam or Jnana Yoga sadhana of the Antima Shatkam, the last section. So in this middle section, the main topic is Upasana as an important spiritual sadhana. And Upasana is defined as what? As Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. Upasana is primarily a mental activity. A physical activity cannot be called Upasana. In fact, there is a misconception among some people that pujas can be called Upasana. We must remember puja cannot be called Upasana because puja is primarily a physical activity and therefore it will come under Karma Yoga only. All types of japa, parayanam, they all come under karma yoga only. So upasana is the name of that sadhana which is done by the mind as an instrument. And that is why it is called manasa vyaparaha. And what type of manasa vyaparaha? Any mental activity cannot be called upasana. Because if any mental activity becomes upasana, we are all experts in one kind of upasana, isn't it? What is that? Always worrying. 24/7, we keep on worrying about something or the other. So that's a mental activity, and that can become a upasana. And therefore, it is specified that upasana means saguna brahma vishaya manasa vyaparaha. It is a mental activity associated with Bhagavan, with Ishvara. That is the primary criteria. So first it should be a mental activity, and that too a mental activity associated with Ishvara. And that too Saguna Brahma. Ishvara endowed with attributes. So even in Upasana, we must not again confuse Upasana, because Upasana means meditation. We should not confuse this Upasana with Nididhyasanam, which is a sadhana for Jnana Yoga. Because Nididhyasanam is Nirguna Brahma Upasana. This Upasana is Saguna Brahma Upasana. Upasana or meditation on Saguna Ishvara. And as I said, this Upasanam is one of the important topics of this Madhyama Shatkam. And this Upasana is of two types. One is Sakama Upasana, in which a person practices this for material benefits. Either material benefits belonging to this world or material benefits belonging to the other world. Ihaloka, Paraloka, Phalani, like Swargaloka, Prapti, etc. And remember, going to higher lokas also will come under material benefits only, because higher lokas mean superior material pleasures, that's all. Here you may go for some dance programs of some of these, famous dancers. I don't like Hema Malin and all. My time I'm talking about, I don't know who are the famous dancers today. Swargaloka, more superior, Ramba, Urvashi and all will be there. That's all. So Ihaloka Phalam means all worldly pleasures here in this Bhuloka. And Paraloka Phalam means all pleasures in the higher loka. But everything will come under samsara only. All lokas come under the time and space continuum. So even doing upasana for miraculous powers, that also comes under material benefits only. We talk about siddhas, Ashta Siddhi and all that. They all come under material benefits only. We must remember that these miracles have nothing to do with spirituality. There is not even iota of spirituality in these miracles, which people perform. It will all come under Ihaloka material benefit only. And this a person can accomplish by practicing Sakama Upasana. And as we saw, there is another form of Upasana, which is Nishkama Upasana, in which a person practices the same meditation Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha, but without hankering about material benefit. Without ihaloka, paraloka, phala icha, a person can practice Nishkama Upasana. And this Nishkama Upasana is the primary topic of the middle section. And whenever Krishna is talking about Upasana, he is not keeping in mind Sakama Upasana at all in the Gita. Krishna is dealing with the topic of Nishkama Upasana primarily. And this Upasana is meant for inner growth of a person, which is meant for spiritual progress of a person. So Nishkama Upasana is practiced by a person who values spiritual growth more than material accomplishments. And this Nishkama Upasana is also divided into two types. In one, a person practices Nishkama Upasana for a length of time, which will give sufficient spiritual maturity or inner growth or spiritual qualifications. The qualifications which are required for Jnana Yoga Abhyasa. And if a person has acquired those qualifications, technically known as what? Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, then he withdraws from Nishkama Upasana and turns his attention towards Jnana Yoga or Vedanta Vichara, which does not come under Upasana. So now you may ask, in what way Jnana Yoga is different from Upasana? Upasana concentrates on Saguna Ishvara, whereas Jnana Yoga concentrates on Nirguna Ishvara, attributeless Brahman. And this Nirguna Ishvara is pursued not by meditation, but through Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. So Jnana Yoga means what? Going to an Acharya and requesting for the knowledge, self-knowledge. As Krishna said in the 4th chapter, Tadvidhi pranipatena prashnena sevaya. Sorry, excuse me. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. So Jnana Yoga involves Vedanta Shravana. And that too consistently one should do Vedanta Shravana for a length of time under the guidance of a competent Acharya. And this will give the knowledge of Nirguna Brahma or Nirguna Ishvara. And then by practicing Mananam, this knowledge is consolidated, made free from all doubts in the intellect. And then by Nididhyasanam, this Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam is assimilated. And all these are done in this life only, while living only. So the steps are: practice Nishkama Upasana, acquire qualification, acquire Jnana Yogyata. Of course, before you come to Nishkama Upasana, one should have done enough Karma Yoga. That goes without saying. Because unless you have actually acquired a certain degree of Chitta Shuddhi through Karma Yoga, you cannot come to Nishkama Upasana also. So Jnana Yogyata, you acquire, withdraw from Nishkama Upasana, apply yourselves to Vedanta Vichara or Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, and attain Nirguna Brahma Jnana Nishta. And by acquiring Jnana Nishta, person gets liberation here and now, which is called Sadhyo Muktihi or Jivan Muktihi. And having attained Jivan Mukti and enjoyed the benefit of Jivan Mukti throughout the life, at the end of Prarabdha, this Jnani dies. In fact, we don't say Jnani dies, we say Jnani attains Samadhi. So after the Jnani leaves his body, the Jnani does not have any travel at all. There is no Shukla Gati, there is no Krishna Gati, there is no Gati at all. In fact, Jnani is one with the Lord here and now. So this is one route of Nishkama Upasana, which is called Sadhyo Mukti route or Jivan Mukti route. And this Nishkama Upasana topic, which is what Krishna wants to highlight in the Gita. Because Krishna's ultimate aim is he wants all of us to get moksha, liberation, here and now, not postponing, not for posthumous benefit. So therefore, Krishna dwells upon that Nishkama Upasana as a means of Jivan Mukti is the primary sadhana. And Krishna deals with this in the 7th chapter. He will deal with this in the 9th chapter, 10th chapter, 11th chapter, and even 12th chapter also. Whereas in the 8th chapter alone, like an odd man out chapter, the unique and peculiar chapter, here Krishna deals with Nishkama Upasana of another type. And what is that? A person practices Nishkama Ishvara Upasana or meditation. He does not want any material benefit other than moksha. But the difference is, he continues the Nishkama Upasana throughout his life. Whereas the other person practices Nishkama Upasana and at some point changes the direction and comes to Jnana Yoga. Whereas in the second type, a person does not come to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam at all. He does not come to Vedanta, Shramana, Manana, etc. for whatever reason. Maybe either he doesn't feel qualified enough to think of Nirgunam, because Nirgunam is a very subtle concept. Or he does not get an Acharya for Nirguna Ishvara Vichara, or some other obstacles are there. So there could be any reason. But this person's ultimate goal is moksha only. And therefore, he continues Nishkama Upasana throughout his life. And because of that, his mind is saturated with Ishvara Chintana of Saguna Ishvara. It could be either in the form of Rama, Krishna, Devi, any Ishvara, any Saguna Rupa. And naturally, at the time of death also, his mind thinks only of God, only of Ishvara. Because sitting down, getting up, lying down on the bed, getting up from the bed, all along is only eating. His thought is only about his Ishvara. So naturally what happens, when your mind is saturated with thought of Ishvara in every action that you do, in fact in every breath you take, because that is what you value most in life, automatically that will be remembered at the time of death also. So even if he is in pain, He will not say, oh my God, Ayyo, Amma, and all that. He will only call names of Ishvara. He will say Rama, Krishna only, even when he is in severe pain. And we have seen this. I mean, these are all not made up things, We have seen some of the old Orthodox people, they keep on taking the name of Ishvara. Any Bhagavan, I know one person, one very elderly person, he will keep on taking the name of Muruga, that is Lord Kartikeya. Throughout the day, even when he is talking to you, in between he will say Muruga, Muruga, like that. So that so much is the mind saturated with that thought. And because he is a Nishkama Upasana, and because he values Ishvara the most, at the time of death also, Saguna Ishvara Chintana alone takes place. And see, he does not know Vedanta, he does not know Nirguna Brahman, he does not know Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, technically speaking, this Upasaka is what? He is a Ajnani Upasaka only. And when this Ajnani Upasaka dies, all the conditions are important, mind you. He should be Ajnani, Nishkama Upasaka. When he dies, remembering God, what happens to him? That is the topic of the 8th chapter. And Krishna says, such an Upasaka will not get liberation here and now because he is an Ajnani. But as a result of the Upasana, this Nishkama Upasana will travel through a special path called Shukla Gati. And he will go to a special loka called Brahma Loka. And by the time he goes to Brahma Loka, he is ready to change the track from Saguna Ishvara to Nirguna Ishvara. And therefore, the Jnana Yoga which he avoided in the Manushya Janma, he is ready to practice in Brahma Loka in a very, very conducive and better atmosphere where there will be no power cuts or network going down or the teacher falling sick or guests arriving right when the class is going to start, etc. In Brahmaloka, one does not need to attend marriages, upanayanams, death ceremonies, all those things. Totally free to focus only and only on Jnana Yoga. And therefore, with much less effort, he gains Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam as Aham Brahmasmi. And as a result of this knowledge, he attains liberation in Brahmaloka. And thereafter, he does not have Punarjanma. And this particular route of attaining moksha through Nishkama Upasana is called Krama Muktihi. And Krishna wants to talk about Krama Mukti in the 8th chapter. But we must always remember, Krishna is not prescribing Krama Mukti for us. He does not want to suggest Krama Mukti for us. As far as Krishna is concerned, Krishna wants us to vote for which Mukti? Sadhyo Mukti or Jivan Mukti in this life itself. But out of academic interest, you can call it for the sake of information, or also, as a standby means, like we have got the generators during power cuts, we don't use that generator normally. But suppose there is a sudden power cut for some reason, we will use the generator. Like that, this Krama Mukti, we can understand what it is and keep it as a standby means. Because for some reason, because of some adverse prarabdha, our pursuit of Jnana Yoga, there is some obstacle. So then what do? You don't want to be born again. So you can take to Upasana, go to Brahmaloka, Krama Mukti, then no rebirth. And therefore, this 8th chapter can also be called Krama Mukti chapter. Whereas 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th are not Krama Mukti chapters. For that reason, we cannot say that they are all Akrama Mukti chapters also. Because the word Akramam has different and negative connotation. Akrama means which is not in order, not proper. So we can say all those chapters are Jivan Mukti or Sadhyo Mukti chapters. And so this is the uniqueness of the 8th chapter. And with this background, we will see what we have seen in this chapter. Now in the first 4 verses, Krishna answers some of the questions asked by Arjuna. You remember Arjuna asked 7 questions based on the 7th chapter. What are the 7 questions? I hope you all remember. What is Adhyatmam? What is Adhibhutam? What is Adhidaivam? What is Adhiyagyam? What is Brahman? What is Karma? And what is the significance of remembering God at the time of death? Which we termed in Sanskrit as Prayana Kale Ishvara Smaranam. So these are the 7 questions Arjuna asked based on Krishna's teaching in the last chapter. So these 7 expressions were used by Krishna himself in the last 2 verses of 7th chapter, that is in the 29th and the 30th verse. And Krishna deals with the first 6 questions very briefly in the 3rd and 4th verses, where he points out that Adhyatmam and Brahman are one and the same consciousness principle. The all-pervading consciousness principle is known by the name Adhyatman and Brahman. Why 2 names for one and the same consciousness? The 2 names from angle of observation. Just like one and the same member of the family is known as father from the standpoint of son, and very same person is called husband from the standpoint of his wife or spouse. The person is not different, but based on the angle of observation, the same person is called father, brother, husband, son, brother-in-law, son-in-law, etc. All the same and one person. Similarly, one consciousness looked at from micro level, individual level is called Adhyatmam, whereas the very same consciousness looked from macro level, from the universal level, from the cosmic level, it is called Brahman. So words are different, but the meaning is the same. And then Krishna pointed out that Adhibhutam is nothing but material universe made of 5 elements. So Bhuta here refers to Pancha Mahabhutas, and Adhibhutam means the material universe made up of 5 elements. The perishable material universe is called Adhibhutam. Then Adhidaivam is the Hiranyagarbha Tattvam, or total mind governing the material universe. Just as the individual body is governed by individual mind, because it is our mind that drives our body. It is your mind that told you to bring the body to this Zoom class, Gita class. Then only the body came. And suppose the mind tells you, leave the class right now and go somewhere else. You will get up and go. But thank God, all our minds are refined. And therefore, the mind does not say so. But if it says, body just obeys. It is just like programming a robot. As you program the mind, the physical body acts like a robot, just obeys the mind. And therefore, just as the individual body is governed by the individual mind, similarly, the total Adhibhutam is governed by the total mind, which is called Hiranyagarbha Tattvam, which is called Adhidaivam. So Krishna explains Adhibhutam, Adhyatmam, Adhidevam, Brahma. Then Adhiyagyaha. Krishna points out is the name of Ishvara Tattvam, who is one step above even Hiranyagarbha. And that Ishvara Tattvam is Karma Phaladata, presiding over the laws of karma. So here Yajna refers to karma, and Adhiyajna means the Lord presiding over the laws of karma, giving appropriate karma phalam in the form of punyam and papam. And where is that Lord seated? Krishna says that Lord is in your own body with a most advanced computer, noting every action you do, every word you speak, every thought that is generated in your mind. All these are immediately registered in the Lord's computer. And which is the speciality of the computer? It will never be affected by any virus. It has got a permanent eternal battery, so no recharging also required. So Adhiyajna is Karma Phaladata Ishvara. And finally, Krishna defined karma as that which is responsible for the creation. It is Papa Punya Karma of the people which is responsible for the manifestation of the creation. Because Punya Papam can be exhausted only through Sukham and Dukkham. And Sukham and Dukkham you can have only when there is a body, there is a world. Without body, world interaction, Punya and Papa cannot be exhausted. And therefore, the accumulated Punya Papa karmas of the Jivas necessitates the creation of the body and the world. And since there are innumerable Jivas with innumerable Punya Papa, the Lord has to create innumerable bodies with innumerable setup for interaction. You must remember, as Swami Paramathananda says, every mosquito that is biting you is based on the law of karma. By biting and sucking your blood, the mosquito's punyam gets exhausted and your papam also gets exhausted. So it's a kind of a double entry book system. Those who are accountants, they will understand what this is. Both sides are tallied. One punyam gone, one papam gone. So if we observe the whole, how law of karma operates, it's a very beautiful cosmic intertwined network. That is called law of karma. Thus, in two verses, Krishna beautifully defines Adhyatma, Adhideva, Adhibhuta, Adhiyajna, Brahma, and Karmani. 6 topics he covers, leaving only one question. Prayana Kale Ishvara Smaranam. Because Krishna wants to elaborately deal with this topic. And then from 5th verse up to the 14th verse, Krishna deals with this 7th question. The significance and method of remembering God at the time of death. And what is the significance that Krishna points out? He says, whatever is remembered at the time of death indicates the predominant personality of that individual. Your personality can be determined by the last thought. Why do we say so? Because as we grow older, our willpower becomes weaker and weaker. And therefore, our thoughts in old age are governed by the vasanas or habits that we acquire throughout the life. Initially, will is stronger, vasana is weaker. As we grow older and older, this is reversed. Will becomes weaker and vasana is stronger. And that is why you have to be very careful. Even in the formation of any addiction, you will first find that the habit is very strong. It grows stronger and stronger. First cigarette, first liquor, first coffee, your will is very strong. In fact, it is very easy to say no. But once the person has been careless and taken to that, one vasana is formed. Now, because he has experienced it, whatever be the experience, it has registered in your antakarana in the form of a samskara. And the second time, because of the samskara, the need is more and will has become slightly weaker. Then third, fourth, fifth, sixth months together, years together, the will with respect to that will become weaker and weaker. The same person may have willpower with regard to other things, but with regard to this addiction, the willpower becomes almost nil. And that is why, many of these smokers, find it very difficult to give up smoking, or even for that matter, people who drink. They find it difficult because the samskaras are formed so strong that their willpower to get away from that, even though they want to do it, but they are unable to do it because the willpower becomes very weak. And that is why, in that organization which is called Alcohol Anonymous, they have a prayer. They say, surrender to God because your will with regard to this is demolished. It requires build-up of the will. Just remember how much effort is required. And therefore, what happens is, when we are young, initially will is stronger, habit is weaker, but as you go ahead, habits become stronger, will becomes weaker, and therefore our final thought is governed by our habit. Our habits are determined by our lifestyle, and therefore my personality or lifestyle will determine my last thought. And therefore Krishna says, the last thought is an indicator of the lifestyle of a person. And therefore, the last thought determines the next janma. So he said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Sixth sloka. And therefore, what is the significance of prayana kala smaranam? It determines or indicates the next janma. Now the next question is, what is the method of prayana kala smaranam? How to influence my final thought? Of course, answer you must all know by now. Since towards our old age, our will becomes weaker and weaker, and since our vasanas are going to become stronger and stronger, what we should do? Develop good vasanas right from now. Don't waste time. In fact, there is a beautiful Subhashitam. Shubha Shubhabhyam Marghabhyam Vahanti Vasana Sarit Paurisheshena Prayatnena Yojaniya Shubhamati. Very beautifully it is said. The mind can go through either Shubha or Ashubha Vasana. In your younger age, you have got direct control or control to direct the mind. And therefore, it says, practice good words, good thoughts right now. Once you do that, then your subconscious mind is saturated with Mangala Vasana or Mangala Samskara. Then, even one is in a coma, where the thoughts are there, but it's not expressed. We do not know at all. These samskaras will determine the thought pattern of the comatose mind. And that mind will only have Shubha Vasana. And naturally, the direction of travel also will be Shubhagatihi, which means Ishvara Praptihi. And therefore, what is the method? Develop good habits right from now. That is why Krishna says. And that is why, Bhagavad Gita is something to be studied in school itself. I'm told that in some schools, in some places and all, they have introduced Bhagavad Gita teaching. And I hope that the teachers are qualified enough to teach all these important aspects to children. Because that is the age in which they can develop good vasanas. Fortunately, for many of us, we had our parents, grandparents, etc. living with us. And they were, even though they didn't teach us Bhagavad Gita, but they carried the values of Bhagavad Gita with them and they taught us all these things during our childhood days. Stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all that Krishna, everything they told us. And so those Shubha Vasanas, we have grown up with those Shubha Vasanas. But unfortunately, with all this nuclear family thing and all that, today neither the parents have got time, nor even if they have time, they have no knowledge of all these things. So children are doing what? PUBG, this, that, and all, watching TV or playing all sorts of games, PSL4, all this is what vasanas they are developing. So with those vasanas, where is the question of Smarana Kale Ishvara Smarana? And that is why Krishna is emphasizing Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhya Cha Mayarpita Manobuddhi Mame Vaishyasya Samshayam. Read good books. Even if you want to watch movies, watch good movies. Of course, it's a different matter whether there are any good movies at all nowadays. Because I see that, youngsters today, including my son-in-law and all, they watch ghost movies. And that too at night, midnight ghost movies, violent movies. And it is because they watch such movies that they develop negative vasanas, which is visibly harming the family, society, etc. Therefore, what you read, what you utter, what you see, and the people that you move with, noble and good people, all are important so that they will generate Shubhavasana. Satsangatve Nissangatvam. Nissangatve, of course, Nirmohatvam and all comes, but that is not the topic here. Okay. In fact, sage Narada says in his Bhakti Sutra, Dussangah sarvatah tyajah. Choose your company very carefully. You need not hate people, but you can keep a safe distance. Like with a cobra. Beautiful, beautiful reptile. You need not hate cobra, but for that matter, you need not catch hold of a cobra and start sort of caressing it. Keep a safe distance. Similarly, we need not hate people, but our company we can choose. Therefore, sarveshu kaleshu. Initially, this requires some effort, some guidance. But after some time, that will become the habit. And once it has become a habit, even if the conscious mind is involved in laukika karmani, the subconscious mind will have only noble thoughts. And then Krishna points out that for remembering God, you can use any particular symbol or Ishta Devata, because Lord does not have any form. But for the sake of thinking and meditation, choose any alambana. Rama, Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, In fact, all dhyana slokas are full of all these alambanam, how to focus your mind, meditate upon that particular alambanam is there. Pick up any dhyana shloka of your Ishta Devata. You will find how to do it, how to go about it. And Krishna introduces Omkara as one of the possible alambanam. And then Krishna says, a Nishkama Upasaka uses that alambanam or symbol to remember God throughout the life and at the time of death also. And because of his natural habit, mind withdraws from external world as Bhishma did at the time of death. He sent away all his people. Like that, at the time of death, one should get to the stage of total withdrawal from all worldly affairs and worldly thoughts. There has been enough interaction. Tell your people around you, they're all waiting for you to have the last breath, ready with Ganga Jal in their hand. Tell them, I have already told you whatever I have to tell. I am not going to tell you anything more. I have written my will also. I have informed all of you about my financial affairs. I don't want to carry any burden with me. I want to now travel light. The only thought that I want to have is have and carry is that of Ishvara. In fact, I tell Bhagavan, I tell Lord Krishna, hey Krishna, please come and stand in front of me. Let me think of you and die. One should be able to have such a control, which needs to be carefully cultivated over a period of time. So Krishna says, Nishkama Upasaka can effortlessly remember the Lord, and as a result of that, he will attain Krama Muktihi. So this is the topic from verse number 5 to 14. And this is the significance and method of Prayana Kala Ishvara Smaranam. Then from verse 15 to 22, Krishna talks about two types of goals that a person can choose. One goal being God himself, or you can say God herself, because she includes he, isn't it? After all, God does not have any gender in the ultimate sense. Therefore, goal as God himself or herself is one goal. And every other goal other than God, we can say non-God goals. God and non-God goals. These are the two possibilities. And Krishna wants to point out that God symbolizes immortality. God symbolizes security. And that is why one of the names of the Lord is what? Achyutaya Namaha. What a beautiful nama. Remember, any karma begins with what? With Achamanam. And in the Achamanam, what is the first nama? Om Achyutaya Namaha, then Anantaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha. So Achyutaya Namaha is the very first nama we take. What does Achyuta means? Achyuta means Nachuti iti Achyutaha. The one who does not slip from the nature of immortality. Navidyate chuti yasya, chutihi yasya. So he is the only reliable goal. God symbolizes immortality. God symbolizes security. God symbolizes peace. God symbolizes happiness. And does not every human being seek this goal only? So everyone seeks these four only through money, through people, through possessions. All the time I look for what? Security, safety, happiness, peace. So God is the only security, only peace. And therefore a person should really choose God as the only goal. And Krishna says, if a person chooses any other goal, it is a risky proposal because every other thing is subject to time and space. And therefore, you may enjoy their presence and company, but the most difficult thing is either it will go away from me or I will go away from that. So, like that person who said, I have built a house which can never be destroyed. Then one sannyasi told him, house may not be destroyed, my dear, but you will be destroyed. You will die one day. And therefore, Brahma Bhuvana Loka hai Punaravartinorjuna Mamupetya to Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Sorry. Excuse me. So all these 14 lokas are Brahma Loka, up to and including the Brahma Loka. All higher positions will come under time and space. There is nothing wrong in using them, nothing wrong in handling them, nothing wrong in enjoying them. But something is wrong if you depend on them. I think earlier I have told you in one of the classes the example of cardboard chair which Swami Paramathananda gives. The cardboard chair is beautifully decorated, wonderful. You can keep it in the showcase. You can use it for Golu during Navaratri for displaying all the toys, etc. All the bommais. You can do everything except you should not sit on that. Similarly, we are not against the world, people, or position or possessions. They are all gift from God. Use them. But for your security, peace, and happiness, do not depend on these ephemeral ones. Hold on to Ishvara. And therefore, infinite goal and finite goal. These are the two possible goals of human life. One is called Shreyas, another is called Prayas. One is called spiritual goal, another is called material goal. And this is the topic from verse number 15 to 22. Then from verse 23 to 27, Krishna talks about two types of paths leading to these two types of goals. What are the two paths? One is called Krishna Gati, which will lead a person to a finite goal. Even different lokas up to Brahma Loka, but excluding Brahma Loka. So different lokas, which are all, you can call it Swarga Lokas. All these lokas will be enjoyable, all right. But if you land up in those lokas after death, there will be a day of return. In fact, in the next chapter, 9th chapter, Krishna will say, Te tam bhuktva sargalokam visha. Sorry, the meter is different. Te tam bhuktva sargalokam vishalam shine punye martyalokam vishanti.
एतं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम्
Gata gatam kama kama labhante. Sorry, somebody said anything? So, this is one path. It leads to material goal. The other path is Shuklagati, which will lead this person to Brahmaloka. As such, Brahmaloka also is finite, comes within time and space only. But in Brahmaloka, he gets jnanam, which will take him to moksha, which is called krama mukti or God. So Shuklagati will take a person to God through krama mukti. So these are the two paths known as Krishna Gati and Shuklagati, which Krishna talks about. And then Krishna also talks about two types of travelers. Because if two destinations are there and two paths are there, there should be two types of travelers also. And who are those travelers? One who goes through Krishna Gati, that is the darker path, is called karmi, a ritualist. One who performs noble karmas, which includes social service, panchamahayajna, etc. So the one who does all forms of noble action will go through Krishna Gati, enjoy higher lokas and return. Whereas the person who follows Shuklagati, the brighter path, which leads to God, this seeker is a upasaka, nishkama upasaka, and he will travel through Shuklagati and attain God in the form of Krama Mukti. And the most important point to be noted here is that we are only talking about karmi and upasaka, two type of people, two type of travelers. There is one more person who does not travel at all, who is not there in this particular race. And that person is a mumukshu, who is pursuing jnanam for sadhyo mukti, moksha here and now. So here, jnanam does not come into the picture at all. Therefore, ajnani karmi and ajnani upasaka are talked about. Ignorant karmi and ignorant upasaka. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of Nirgunam Brahma. Both of them have not come to Jnana Yoga. They have followed karma. They have followed upasana. Both of them have not come to Jnana. So a Jnani is excluded from the 8th chapter. He will be introduced as the hero of the 9th chapter. Okay. Thus, Karmi and Upasaka will go to these two destinations. This is the topic from 23rd to 27th verse. And in the 28th verse, Krishna concludes this discussion. If we have to choose between karma and upasana, which one is better is the question. Jnanam is not in the race. So if we have to choose between karma and upasana, Krishna wants to say upasana is better because it will give a person krama mukti or oneness with God after death, whereas a karmi will not get krama mukti also. Of course, he won't get Jivan Mukti also. So a karmi will have neither type of mukti, and therefore Arjuna, an intelligent person, will choose upasana between the two. Naite sruti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. Then the last sloka he says, Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param stanamupaiti chadhyam. So, therefore, in the last sloka, the last verse, Krishna glorifies the yogi. Yogi here means the Nishkama Upasaka, who will attain God, which is superior goal as compared to all other ephemeral goals of life. Thus, by glorifying a Nishkama Upasaka and Krama Mukti, Krishna concludes this discourse, and this chapter is called Akshara Brahma Yoga. As I said, it could have also been called Krama Mukti Yoga. But then it is named Akshara Brahma because that is the word with which Krishna's teaching begins in this chapter. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Krishna Arjuna Samvade Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamo Adhyaya Harihi Om.
धन्यवादः
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ धन्यवादः एवरीवन
Thank you very much.
धन्यवादः
Harihi
गुरुजी
Om, Guruji.
धन्यवादः
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Guruji.
thank
Very
you.
good
wondering
session.
whether I will overshoot the time, but luckily,
Hari Om Guruji.
thanks to
Thank you.
Bhagwan's grace, it finished on time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om Guruji. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Pranam. Guruji, I missed the. I have not switched on when you had started the class. Am I okay to ask questions or?
Yeah, you can ask the question. Questions
But
are not barred whether you attend or not attend. I mean, you have to be present here, but even earlier classes, you can ask questions, no problem.
Guruji, I have 3 questions, but you did not answer all the 3. You can answer any one.
You think I will not be able to answer, or
No, the time
will
factor,
not be
because I see you are in. Are you in Radharani, Guruji, or?
no, but I'm going to have dinner. I'm home only, so don't worry.
Right. Okay.
Not a constraint.
Okay. Okay, Guruji. This is an academic question, not directly connected with me at the moment, I guess. The lower jivas, apart from the human birth, any other jiva, and especially the lower jivas, they cannot either accumulate punyam nor can they get rid of their karmas. So when any jiva takes birth in the lower jiva, because of the previous karma, if they cannot karma kshaya na hota hai and not the pun. So what decides when their life ends and they take a rebirth?
Prarabdha karma. Because at the end of the previous life, one set of prarabdha karma is over. The sanchita karma bundle is there. Out of that, another set of prarabdha karma which are maturing will come up. That prarabdha karma will determine what kind of a jiva it is going to be.
Okay.
And that prarabdha karma will run its course.
Okay.
If it is not a human birth, then no punyam, no papam, only exhaustion of punyam or papam.
Only the prarabdha karma exhaustion.
Yes, prarabdha karma exhaustion. No fresh accumulation.
No fresh accumulation.
So at the end of that jiva will go, and then again next set of prarabdha karma, whatever is there, accordingly it will be born in that particular yoni. That's all. That's how it goes on.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you for that. I think you had mentioned this earlier, but then that.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, these are all things which one needs to keep on listening repeatedly, then it will actually settle in the mind.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
Question.
Second question is, the Nishkama Upasaka, he'll either progress to a Jnani by doing Nishkama Upasana with the Chitta Shuddhi, he'll progress to become a Jnani path, to choose the path of a Jnani, or he continues to be till the end of his life to continue in the Saguna Upasana. So this happens. What decides which path he is going to be? Is it grace dependent or self effort or karma dependent?
No. See, after karma yoga, you start doing upasana. Suppose let us take an ideal situation where you have been a grihastha, then go to vanaprastha. Correct? Vanaprastha does not necessarily mean those days they used to go to the forest. But here you can isolate yourself from your grihastha duties, grihastha responsibilities, and lead a secluded life doing upasana, meditation. Okay? Now, what is the purpose? Because first karma yoga gave you chitta shuddhi. The purity has developed. Because of the purity, the purity of the mind, what has happened? You have grown spiritually. When you have grown spiritually, means what? You have identified moksha as your goal. You have identified Bhagavan Ishvara as your goal. You have moved away through Viveka, Vairagya, Sadhana Chatushte Sampatti, moved away from all your material goals. Step number 1. Now, what is required? For moksha, you require what? You require jnanam. You require self-knowledge. For self-knowledge, what is required? Not just pure mind, but a focused mind. Concentrate, mind which can concentrate. So, chitta naischalyam is required. So, there are two important pre-qualifications for Jnana Yoga. Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naischalyam. Chitta Shuddhi you will gain by Karma Yoga. Chitta Naischalyam you will gain by Upasana. So when you are doing meditation, you are training your mind to focus on one object, one thing, to the exclusion of everything else, so that no other thought enters your mind and you are able to focus that. It is very, very difficult to do that. Because our mind, the nature of our mind, as Krishna will say, sorry, Arjuna will say, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. So, mind is of that nature. So, in order to manage, I wouldn't call it control. Control means suppression. You are not suppressing the mind. You are allowing the mind to perform or to function, but condition is only one thought. So when you practice that for a length of time, you gain that chitta naischalyam, that concentration of the mind. So once you have done these two, chitta shuddhi and chitta naischalyam, then you are ready for jnana yoga. Okay? So this much is clear. Now what happens? You are now supposed to, at some stage of this upasana, this upasaka has to find an acharya, approach him, then request acharya to give him the knowledge which is there in the Upanishads. Now for some reason, this upasaka is not able to find an acharya, or he is living in such a place where there are no acharyas. Possible. Or there are some other obstacles which are there. Because I tell you, these are all very real situations. As I mentioned earlier also, in Gurukulam, initially 65 people joined in my batch. And all of them were very serious about moksha, and all of them were qualified to gain this knowledge. But almost 1/3 of them dropped out because of so many factors. Each person different factors it could be, but then they could not complete it. So therefore, for so many reasons, this could happen. So what will that upasaka do? It will not be that, he will again go back to his material world. No. Okay, I'm not able to pursue jnanam. I will continue with this upasana, nishkama upasana till the end of my life, because moksha, my goal has not changed. I know that there is another route. There is a standby generator. Krama Mukti is there. Because I have studied Bhagavad Gita. Each chapter I have studied, I have understood it very well. So Krama Mukti is there. So I will continue with the upasana. I am not fortunate enough to get a guru and gain jnanam in this life. But it's okay. I will settle for a second best. So he will continue, and then he will go to Brahmaloka.
Yes.
Brahmaloka through Shuklagati.
There he'll go. Brahmaloka and
Then Brahmaloka, Brahmaji is there.
Shuklagati. Yes,
Shuklagati, you go, VIP route, go to Brahmaloka, all pleasures, enjoyments, no sorrow, no grief, nothing. Happy. Brahmaji himself is there, grace of Brahma.
Yeah. Yes.
So you get jnanam and become mukta hai. So, the important step is set your goal, moksha. If you set moksha as your ultimate goal and the only goal, then what happens? Either it will happen through Sadhyo Mukti route or through Krama Mukti route. But in both the routes, Upasana is one of the important sadhanas to be performed for Chitta Naishcharyam. That is what you have to understand. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, yes, Guruji. You have answered, Guruji. Thank you. But the factors influencing either progressing to Jnani or to continuing at the Saguna Upasaka. So, is it self-effort is the main thing, or grace is the main thing, or our own karma phala?
Combination.
Karma phala, all the
It
combination.
is never self-effort alone or grace alone.
And for everything else, just as for everything else.
Everything that happens in our
Just
life.
everything.
Two things, self-effort and grace. Both are important, equally important. I would not say this is better, that is better. Equally important.
Yes,
You may
Guruji.
do all your efforts, still fail in the examination.
Yes.
Isn't it? So that is, both are important, equally important.
Thank you, Guruji. Very much. Thank you very much. The third question is whether someone wants to. At some point, I must have heard it wrong. One can choose Krishnagati or Shuklagati. It's not choosing, isn't it? It is something that that is granted to you depending on the kind of karma you have done.
Exactly.
Granted to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is not whether you get a 1-year visa or a multiple entry visa. It will be granted. You apply for a visa. It will, whatever the embassy fellow gives you, you take that. That's all.
Right.
So,
And also, have I understood right? If I say, if I noted down that Karmi goes through Krishnagati and Upasaka goes through Shuklagati?
yes.
That's okay. Right.
And one more point let me add, because there will be a question which you are not asked. But you see, we say Karmi goes to Krishnagati to Swarga. So now there are 7 lokas like Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Maha, Janaha, Tapaha. Then Satya. Satya Loka is Brahma Loka, the last Loka.
He will not go there.
So he will not go there. But Swarga Loka he will go. Then the question will be, who will go to these other lokas? Above Suvaha, there is Maha, Janaha, Tapaha. There are 3 more lokas. So what happens? There are waste lokas or what? Nobody will go there or what? Will be a question, right? In fact, I will be dealing that question later in Mundaka Upanishad. But here I will give you the answer. The thing is, this Karmi, Kevala Karmi will go to Swargaloka. But a Karmi could be a Karmi plus Upasaka. He has been doing karmas at the same time, parallelly, he has been practicing Upasana also. And in Upasana also, there could be different degrees of Upasana. One is karma predominant, but Upasana is secondary. Another is Upasana predominant, karma is secondary, but he is doing karma Upasana Samuchaya, that is doing both.
Combination.
He is not a pure karmi, not a pure upasaka. So such people, depending upon what the degree of that is, they go to these lokas. And in fact, in the Shastra, those lokas are also considered as Swargalokas only. Because apart from Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, all these are all considered Swargalokas only, with different categories. Swargaloka 1, Swargaloka 2, Swargaloka 3, Swargaloka 4, like that. Except Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is not Swargaloka, it is Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. So the answer to the question is, even within karma and upasana, even if you are practicing karma and upasana, depending upon the what I would call it, the strength of your practice, you may even go to one of these lokas.
I think most of the sadhakas will fall into this group, isn't it, Guruji?
Most of the sadhakas call it?
Most of the sadhakas will fall into this group, a combination of
Yes.
karma and upasana.
Yes, most of them will fall into this group. But whether they fall into this group or any one of them, all are punarjanma. They will all come back. Only when you go to Brahmaloka, there is no punarjanma.
Guruji, what happens to someone who is not a karmi and not a upasaka? Nothing.
Whatever prarabdha is there. Because why do we do all these things? We do all these things to add punyam, add to our bundle of sanchita karma, so that, because if suppose, let us assume one thing. Sanchita karma today, I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. Sanchita karma, 50% consisting of papa, 50% consisting of punya, there is a balance. So if a person in this janma, a human being, he does not do any karma, any upasana, nothing he does. But he will be doing some action, right? In all probability, he will be indulging in lot of adharmic karma. Because if you are used to dharmic karma, then you will think twice before any adharmic karma you do. But if you do not have any dharmic thoughts at all in your mind, all that you will end up doing is adharmic karma. What will happen? Papa will increase. Because then that papa will get added to the sanchita karma. So earlier it was 50-50. Now sanchita karma balance will tilt. Papa will go up to maybe 60-70 and the punyam will be 30% composition. What will happen? Then there will be prarabdha out of that. That if that prarabdha is not balanced, he will not get human birth. So he will either get a birth in one of the lower lokas, we have got Atala, Sutala, Patala, etc. The lower lokas are there. Maybe born there, or he may be born in a lower yoni also. Like, not a human being, but a reptile, animal, a plant, mosquito, insect, anything lower yoni, he can be born. So that will what will happen, one who does not do any karma, any upasana. Karma in the sense, I am talking about Vidika karmas, Vihita karmas. Karma is generally karma, everybody does karma, right? But dharmic karmas, Vihita karmas, one does not do. This is what will happen to that jiva.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you very much for clarifying.
But what will happen in the lower yoni or in the lower narakas, that papa is going to get exhausted.
Karma will be exhausted.
Isn't it? Papa is going to get exhausted.
Yes.
So the papa will go on, that which he has earned in the human birth, the papa, that will get exhausted to this lower yonis or lower loka births. At some stage, again, the papa and punya will become balanced. Then he will get a human birth. So like that, this cycle
goes on
and on and on and on. So safest thing for us is do your karmas, whatever is vihita karmas are there, do them properly. Do them earnestly, sincerely, continue doing that. Focus on dharma, all dharmic things, all dharmic thoughts, etc. Continue like that and leave everything else to Ishvara, to Bhagawad. He is a karma phala data. He has the whole account. So the more punya you earn, suppose your punya is very much of upasana, karma, you straight away maybe go to the Brahmaloka, who knows? Even if you have not come to this Gita class or Vedanta class, you may go to Brahmaloka. So keep doing all these sadhanas. That is what Krishna wants to emphasize.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Okay, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guruji, for the next 1 month, I will not be able to.
Yeah, I saw your message. That's okay. I mean,
Thank you.
For
Hari
me,
Om.
problem is students who take it as a time pass, not students who are serious. Serious students, no problem, because they have the video recording, so they can always listen. And whenever I find that whenever they have opportunity, they log in also. So that is not a problem with serious students. But there are some, of course, now I don't think there is anybody, because many of them I have actually removed from the group or they themselves have withdrawn. But now whoever is there are serious students. So I don't have a problem with that. So don't worry. If possible, whenever
Yes,
you can join, otherwise listen to the videos. Okay.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Any more questions? Otherwise, we'll close the session. Next week, we'll start with 9th chapter. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.